When you hear the word blockchain, your mind probably jumps straight to Bitcoin, right? But the technology powering it is, well, it's so much bigger than just one digital currency. Today, we're going to peel back the layers and look at how these new technologies are building the scaffolding for a totally new financial world. But it's definitely not a straight line to the future. And that brings us to the big question, the real dilemma here. We keep hearing about blockchain's incredible promise, how it's going to revolutionize everything. But then you also hear about slow transactions and crazy high fees. So which one is it? Is this the express lane to the future, or is it just stuck in a massive traffic jam? That's the core problem we're digging into today.
So let's talk about that traffic jam. This is what a lot of people in the space call the blockchain bottleneck. And it's really the first major challenge that this technology has to overcome if it's ever going to be used by, well, everyone.
Okay, so here's the deal. The main blockchain, what's called Layer 1, is built to be incredibly secure and decentralized. And that's its superpower. But that superpower comes with a trade-off. Every single transaction, no matter how tiny, has to be checked and approved by the entire network. And that, as you can imagine, creates a massive bottleneck. It gets slow, it gets expensive, especially if you're trying to do a ton of small payments.
But of course, where there's a problem, smart people are already building a solution. And it's pretty brilliant. The best way to think about it is like building a high-speed express lane that sits right on top of that main blockchain highway. This is where things get really interesting. Let's just bring this down to earth for a second. Imagine you want to tip your favorite online creator $1, or maybe buy a coffee with some crypto. In the old system, the fee to send that transaction could actually cost more than the coffee itself, which is just insane, right? These little micropayments are super important for the digital economy, but they're just completely impractical on the main network. And that's where Layer 2 solutions come into play. This is the big idea. Just think of them as separate systems built to work on top of the main blockchain. Their whole job is to take all that heavy traffic of transactions, process it all super fast and super cheaply off-chain, and then just report the final summary back down. So you get the speed of a separate network, but you still have the rock-solid security of the main blockchain underneath. Best of both worlds. So how does it actually work? Well, the easiest way to get it is the bar tab analogy. It's perfect. First, two people decide to open a payment channel. That's like opening a tab at a bar. You both agree to lock up some funds in a smart contract. Then, for the rest of the night, you can make tons of little transactions back and forth, instantly, with basically no fees. This is all happening off-chain. Finally, when you're ready to leave, you settle the tab. Only that one final balance gets recorded on the main blockchain. It's a genius solution, because now one single transaction can represent hundreds or even thousands of smaller ones. All right, so we've got a way to make payments fast and cheap. Problem solved, right? Well, not quite. The vision for blockchain is way bigger than just faster payments. The next massive leap is about completely reinventing the very idea of what it means to own something. I mean, just think about what it takes to sell a house or even a car right now. It is a total nightmare of paperwork, agents, lawyers, banks, all these middlemen. And it's slow, it's expensive, and it all depends on piles of paper to prove who owns what. So the blockchain approach to this is this really cool concept called smart property. Here's how it works. You take a real-world thing, like a house or a car, and you create a unique digital token that represents ownership of it. Then, all the rules for how that thing can be bought or sold or even rented out are coded directly into a smart contract that manages the whole thing automatically. Now let's look at two incredible examples of this. Okay, check this out. On the one hand, you could tokenize an entire apartment building. What does that mean? Well, suddenly people could buy and sell tiny little fractions of that building, like shares of a stock. It could completely open up real estate investing. Or think about your car. Its title, registration, even its full service history could all be baked into a single digital token. Buying a used car could become as simple and secure as one digital transaction. No more middlemen, no more guessing games. Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? We've got instant digital money, we can own a piece of a building with a click. But that leads to the next big, and I mean really big question. How in the world do you keep all of this stuff safe? If your house is now a token on your computer, you better have a seriously good lock for it. So the first thing you gotta understand is where your assets are actually stored. There's hot storage, which is kind of like the cash in your wallet. It's connected to the internet, super convenient for everyday spending, but it's also more exposed to hackers. Then you've got cold storage. Think of this like a vault.
It's completely disconnected from the internet. It's way, way safer for long-term saving, but it's obviously not as easy to get to. It's that classic trade-off, convenience versus security.
But that's just the beginning. For the really important stuff, you have to go a level deeper. And this quote right here, this is the core principle of next-level security. The whole goal is to get rid of any single point of failure. If one person has the key, that's a risk. If one computer has the key, that's a risk. The real solution is to decentralize control. And this leads to two really clever but different ways to do it: key splitting and key sharing. Now, they sound the same, but they solve different problems. Look here. Key splitting is all about paranoia, in a good way. Its goal is pure security. It literally breaks one key into a bunch of useless pieces. You need, say, 3 out of 5 pieces to put the key back together. This makes it incredibly hard for a thief to compromise. Key sharing, on the other hand, is more about availability. It makes several full copies of the key. Now, this is a bit riskier from a security standpoint, but it makes sure that if one person loses their key, the funds aren't lost forever. So it's really a choice. Are you optimizing for maximum security or for guaranteed access? So let's just zoom out for a second. We've got fast payments, we've got digital ownership, and we've got some seriously advanced ways to keep it all safe. When you start putting all these pieces together, what you have isn't just an upgrade to the old system. You have a brand new toolkit for building the entire future of finance. And what's super interesting is that blockchain isn't doing this all on its own. It's actually part of this powerful team of technologies that are all working together. And a really simple way to remember them is with the ABCDs of alternative finance. So first up, A is for AI, or artificial intelligence. You can think of AI as the brain of the whole operation. It can sift through mountains of information to make smarter decisions about loans, figure out risk, and spot fraud in real time. B, of course, is for blockchain. This is the heart of it all, the foundation of trust. It's that transparent, unhackable public ledger that lets us do all of this without needing to trust a big bank in the middle. Then we have C for the cloud. The cloud is the engine room. It provides all the scalable, on-demand computing power needed to run these new financial services without having to build massive, expensive data centers like the old banks did. It makes the whole thing possible and affordable. And last but not least, D is for data. If AI is the brain, then data is the fuel that makes it smart. By analyzing all this data, these new systems can finally move past the one-size-fits-all products of the past and start creating financial services that are actually personalized to you. So you see, when you put all of this together, the intelligence of AI, the trust of blockchain, the power of the cloud, and the insight from data, you've got this incredibly powerful new toolkit. It's already changing how we pay for things, what it means to own something, and how we keep it all secure. So the only real question left is, what part of our financial world is going to get upgraded next?